Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Matt here from Total MTG, and it's a special video. Today I am previewing a new deck and some new cards from Jumpstart 2021, a new set that is coming out on August the 12th. Thanks to Wizards for sending this my way to preview for you all. Very exciting, and it's special moment for me to get to preview some cards. So first of all, we're going to have a look at the deck, and then the two new cards will be at the end of the video, so make sure you do stay to the end. So the deck's name is Delirium. Now, a lot of you will know that mechanic. Delirium, for those of you that don't, it revolves around card types in your graveyard. So there have to be 4 or more card types in your graveyard among the cards there to basically trigger Delirium on certain different amounts of cards. So we're going to start off by looking at some of the cards. First off, we'll look at the cards. Now these are all reprinted from like Modern Horizons 2, various other sets as well. I think it's Theros Beyond Death and a few other sets as well. So the first card we're looking at is Foul Watcher, 2 mana, 1/2, Nightmare Bird. When it ends battle, you get a Surveil. So we want to be putting stuff into the graveyard, and Surveil is great for this deck. Look at the top card of your library. You may put that card in your graveyard. So if you want to build up Delirium, this kind of creature is great for doing that. For Delirium on this now, all Deliriums can be different. They can be mill, they can be damage, they can be draw cards, they can be loads of different things. Foul Watcher gets +1/+0 as long as there are 4 or more card types among the cards in your graveyard. Flying is great for evasion, so this card will be really, really good. The next card we have is Raven Visionary. Merfolk Wizard, it's a 1/1 for 2 mana as well. Draw a card, then a discard a card. With this deck that I notice you'll see from the creatures, there's plenty of ways to draw cards, and it's going to be a great mix for another pack that you will put with this as well. The Delirium on this will cost 3 to tap, draw a card, activate only if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard. So for this one, you have to wait to activate it to get the Delirium, and then you can draw that card and get card advantage. Card advantage really does help win games. We then look at Scuttletide. Now, this is probably one of the deck's win cons. It's going to be amassing crabs. You have to discard a card to create a 0/3 blue crab. Not going to be doing much attacking with that with the 0/3. But the Delirium on this is crabs you control gets +1/1 as long as there are 4 or more card types in your graveyard. How many times am I going to say that for Delirium? But yeah, discard that card, build up your graveyard, and then just mass tokens there. Make them all 1/3s, and then you're going to go thrive with these, go wide with these crabs. They're not going to be doing much damage, but they're going to be pecking away potentially. And Scuttletide for 2 mana from Modern Horizons 2, I think is a really cool card. And for me, I love mill, so I love crabs. So yeah, this is going to be a good card. One of the bigger creatures in the deck is Gouged Zealot from MH2 as well. 4/3 red card with reach. Nice. The Delirium on this is whenever the Zealot attacks, if there are 4 more cards in the graveyard, deals 1 damage to each creature defending player controls. So potentially if they've got a little weenie deck, lots of low toughness creatures, just get this attack in, doing the damage, and potentially you'll be clearing the field as well. Looking at some of the instants and sorceries as well, before we get onto some more creatures here. Unholy Heat for 1 mana from Modern Horizons 2. There is a fair amount of Modern Horizons 2s in there, and that for me was one of the best sets of recent times. This deals 6 damage instead if there are no, if you get the 4 or more card types in there. 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker if not, which is still not bad for 1 mana. It doesn't hit player, which is a little bit annoying. So, not like the shock effect, but 2 damage to creature or planeswalker is good. And get that Delirium, 6 damage for 1 mana is probably going to clear planeswalkers and a lot of creatures as well. Thriller Possibility is in there. Great, one of the great cards from M21. It's been reprinted many times. Discarding cards as well, which is what you want for Delirium, and then drawing 2 cards. So putting something in there that might make up the 4, and then drawing 2 cards as well. Thriller Possibility is just like the perfect card for this deck. It really is good. Scour the Laboratory in the deck as well, 4 double blue, but it does cost 2 less to cast if you've got Delirium, and then you draw 3 cards. So potentially 4 mana to draw 3 is very good stats for me. I like this card. I think it was, I'm trying to think of I can see the symbol there, but off the top of my head, I can't think what it is. Such a bad YouTuber. I can see it. SOI, I think, is It's the abbreviation, but I just can't remember. So recently printed from Modern Horizons 2 as well, and one of the most expensive uncommons in that set was Dragon Rage Channeler. And you're going to get this in this deck as well. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you get to Surveil 1. So we have the Delirium and Surveil that works really well on this deck. As long as there are 4 or more card types, this gets +2/+2 flying and attacks each combat. But you're going to get a 3/3 flyer for 1 mana potentially. Absolutely epic card. Bloodbraid Marauder 3/1. This is the rare in the deck as well. So 1 and a red. Marauder can't block, but it has Cascade if you get the Delirium, which is a super strong mechanic in itself. So it has a Cascade if there are 4 more types. And if you don't know what Cascade is, if you're new to the game potentially and you're going to come in and play some Jumpstart, Cascade is when you cast this spell, exile cards from the top of your library. You may exile a non-land card that costs less. You may cast it without paying its mana costs. That is amazing. You have to put all the other exile cards on the bottom of your library as well. So at least, it doesn't feed the graveyard, but they go somewhere. But, potentially you're going to get something really good. And for that mana as well, the 2 mana, get Cascade in. I think this is a really cool beatdown. And obviously Cascade is fun as well. So next up is Prophetic Titan. Nice card, MH2, uncommon, 4/4 for 6. If there are 4 or more card types in the graveyard, you get to choose 2 of these abilities. If not, you get to choose 1. So Prophetic Titan deals 4 damage to any target. Nice because you can hit player as well, or creature potentially. And the other ability is look at the top 4 cards of your library, 1 in your hand, the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. So if you get your Delirium, getting 2 of them. So then for 6 mana, you're getting a 4/4 creature. You can do 4 damage to any target, and then you get to look and siphon through your deck for 6 mana. Pretty cool for an uncommon card. Last few creatures in there. Interesting one, this one. Now, it has Delirium, so it is on theme with the deck, but it's a bit of a mill ability. It's a Manic Scribe, and I've seen these, when we played mill in this sort of standard, I played this card. Ends a battlefield, each opponent puts the top 3 cards of his or her library into the graveyard. Now, if this has Delirium, though, at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if there are 4 or more types, player puts the top 3 cards. So it is like a separate kind of wink on if you can keep this on the field, it will do work. It will mill your opponent's deck in time for you potentially to win. And Manic Scribe, it's a 0/3, nice stats. But they tend to want to kill this because people want to play with their cards and they really, really hate mill. And Manic Scribe is definitely a card that will mill your opponent out. It's such a cool, fun card. Get to some last creatures again. What do we have? We have Wierd of Mountain's Blade. 2 mana, 1/3. Discard a card, draw a card for 3 mana. Has nothing else. That's just what's on the tin here. This is one of your discard outlets to fill up for Delirium. 2 mana, 1/3, so can act as a nice blocker as well. And it feeds up that graveyard, which is what you want to be doing with this deck, because you really want Delirium to actually get to your win cons and improve the deck. Basically you've got a lot of low mana powered creatures that, they're not really going to take some time. The opponent's potentially going to have bigger creatures and just stomp you. But when you start activating Delirium, that is how you're going to get the wins. Storm's God's Oracle is a nice enchantment, 1/3. It's a common from Modern Horizons 2. I actually quite like this one. For a common, I think it's pretty sweet. Pay 1, Storm God's Oracle gets +1/-1 to end of turn, so don't activate it too much and kill it. That's the kind of mistake I'd make. But when it does die, 3 damage to any target. So another, like the Prophetic Titan as well, can do 4 damage to the opponent. This can do 3 damage to the opponent as well. So, it has ways to sort of ping and burn your opponent, this deck as well. Omen of the Forge does the same. An enchantment with flash it in there. 2 damage to any target again. You pay sacrifice it to scry 2 is really powerful. And also as Omen of the Sea, the blue version of the deck. These both have flash. Both can be sacked and help with Delirium to go into your graveyard. Scry 2, draw a card. My favourite enchantment, Omen. This is my favourite Omen because it's blue, of course. So I'm always going to prefer this one. But both work very well with the deck and can get that enchantment into the graveyard. An artifact as well, when you can sacrifice this. So you have ways that, easier ways to get stuff in the graveyard in this deck. You've got the sack effects. You have to pay for them, but they're still good and can help you get Delirium, which is what you need. And if anyone knows how many times I've said Delirium in this video, please put in the comments below. I'd love to know. Implement of Exclamation. Pay the blue, sack it, draw a card, very nice, 3 mana. When it's put into the graveyard, you get to draw a card as well. So double drawing, paying for it, but still nice, and will feed up the delirium. So the last card in the deck as well, before we get to the 2 new cards, and one is very strange if you saw the old thumb. It's a strange card. Lightning Spear, 2 mana. Quick creature gets +1/0 and trample. Trample is great. Steam over the you know, any little 1/1 blockers, anything like that. Pay 3, sack it, 3 damage to any target. So you do have another ability here to do burn to the face before you can potentially get in with some wins. This is only a quick one as well, so very, very good common from Modern Horizons 2. So now after seeing the deck, we're going to look at the 2 no cards from the deck, the special preview cards on top of the deck. The first one is Ethereal Grasp. 2 and a blue, this common card, tap target creature. That creature perpetually, that means constantly, that means always, for those of you who did not, I had to Google it. This creature doesn't untap during your untapped step, and they have to pay 8 to untap this creature. And if you want to sink that in, fair enough. But it basically is a tap down effect at instant speed for 3 mana that just continues to be tapped perpetually, but can be paid a lot of mana to untap that creature or their creature or your creature if you do it to yourself. But 8 mana seems a lot for them to untap, so personally it is, but you know, you want to be getting your wins before they're untapping for 8 mana. Late game when they've got the mana, probably not so good, but it might save you from an attack or something like that. I absolutely love the art on this from Miranda Meeks. I think it's really cool. Just love the art on this card. And Ethereal Grasp is the first new card. Now we're getting on to the second new card, and it's a weird one. I want to know in the comments what you think of this card. Seems a bit awkward if I'm reading it right. It is Sarcan Scorn. Cracking art, 2 and a red. Scorn deals damage equal to the number of turns you have begun to target creature or planeswalker. If I'm reading this card right, and I had to ask him saying, please, like, am I reading this right? Which I think I am. It doesn't say to end of turn, doesn't say anything like that. It just says the number of turns you have begun to target creature or planeswalker. Now, doesn't do player, which I think this one should have. It would have been hilarious for that, because it still would have taken time to beat up. So that's the only downside for me with this card. But it's a strange card. Isn't it a strange card? Previous preview, I got Glade Muse, if you know that card. That was a bit weird. And then they've given me Sarcan Scorn as another preview, so I think that's absolutely hilarious. They just love giving me strange cards. Thanks, Wizards. But yeah, please, this is obviously going to be a talked about card. Let me know what you think of it. Probably shocking, but just let me know. And are you going to be keeping track on your gamepad? But that is the whole deck, the Delirium deck. Obviously you'll get some lands as well. Thanks again to Wizards for, you know, giving me this preview deck, and obviously the new 2 preview cards as well. I really do appreciate it. If you can give the video, if you can give the video, I've just rambled on too long, a big thumbs up. That would really help support and, you know, help me get more things like this in the future. It's, you know, it's your help that's got me this way. So I really do appreciate everything you do for me. Thanks a lot for taking the time to watch the video, and I'll see you in the comments. You lot take care, and I'll see you on the next one.